Gaurav, obviously endless buzz is over whether Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping will have a bilateral at the SCO summit. What are you hearing? Is there a likelihood of that actually happening?
So far, what we've been told is that there is one bilateral, and that is with Uzbekistan. There may be one with Russia, is what we know or what we are being told. But apart from that, they're saying, let's play it by the ear. Let's see what happens. But SCO, as Geeta will tell us better, is more about multilateral engagement and culture, trade, tourism. These are some of the important issues that will be discussed. But the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going for the summit is an indicator that somewhere down the line, India insisting, unless the situation is moving towards normalcy, towards peace and tranquility at the line of actual control, there cannot be engagement between India and China. And that is why China, after saying it will not disengage, at least from PP15, because this is one very crucial point as far as China is concerned, it fears that India could have access to 3 different routes into Aksai Chin should India be in that area. China relented. It has disengaged. It hasn't yet either de-escalated or, de-inducted from this area. So, there is this cold peace, no war, no peace at the LAC, but at least chances of friction have been reduced.
Geeta, you're reporting from Samarkand, historic town, culturally very, very rich, and truly fitting that the SCO summit is happening there. As Gaurav pointed out, there are many, many takeaways from this summit, besides also the India-China bilateral, if that doesn't happen. Take us through some of those. What to you are the takeaways for India from the summit?
Well, for India, the most important part of SCO, given that the focus is the centrality of SCO is Central Asia, Akshita, is the reason why Afghanistan is going to be crucial. Iran is good. The initiation of Iran as full member begins here in Samarkand and will conclude in India when India becomes president of SCO and hosts SCO summit in India in 2023. So that certainly will kicks off a very important aspect for India, the investments in Chabahar, connectivity of India via Chabahar into Afghanistan and the whole of Central Asia. That aspect is certainly something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be emphasizing on and speaking of. But yes, like Gaurav said, SCO architecture is primarily to do with cooperation, economic trade, etc., but also security. There is an entire aspect, an entire format called the Regional Anti-Terrorism Structure that discusses terrorism. Now, with India-Pakistan on the table, there certainly when we don't see eye to eye, there certainly are differences. But SCO largely has remained away from the bilateral frictions, and that you can see with the kind of conversations that take place within the SCO. The focus over here will also be the bilateral meetings and full asides, like we've been discussing. The disengagement at least gives room for Chinese and Indian leadership to maybe acknowledge each other, but certainly no confirmation on any bilateral or even a full aside or informal conversation, but that could take place. But India will only put forth its viewpoint, like Gaurav said, de-induction, de-escalation, paramount. Chinese side might raise concerns with regards to restrictions imposed on Chinese apps and Chinese telecom companies. Apart from that, the other very important bilateral we should be looking at is India-Iran, again, because of Chabahar and Afghanistan. That bilateral is going to be very important, and a bilateral with Uzbek president, given that he is hosting the summit. So these are very important, but the larger perspective, Russia-China bilateral just concluded, Akshita, yes. And the minutes of that meeting are very, very crucial, not just for India or the region, but also for America and the West.
Geeta, just a quick update for our viewers. Prime Minister Modi is now left for the SCO summit from Delhi, so he's expected to touch down where you are in Samarkand in just a few hours from now. To what we're hearing is going to be a grand welcome for Prime Minister also from the Indian diaspora there in Uzbekistan. So that's just a quick update for our viewers that the Prime Minister has left from the national capital, with a statement also that he's put out of what he intends to achieve, Gaurav, at the SCO summit as well. While there's a lot of talk, about India and China, about the meeting that perhaps could happen between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, what do you make of the bilateral that's happened, as Geeta told us, between Russia and China? What does that mean for India?
So that again is a very critical bilateral, especially in the wake of what's happening not just in Ukraine but also vis-a-vis Taiwan. And this is where India will have a very crucial voice, because even if other countries do try and speak in one voice, perhaps take an anti-West view, considering you have Iran, Russia and China at this table, you will have India that will be the voice of reason in this area. And India has made this very clear on more occasions than one. Any dispute has to be addressed through dialogue and not violation of territorial integrity of any country. That's equally true of Russia's actions in Ukraine, what Russia continues to call its special operations, as it is of Chinese actions along the line of actual control and Chinese bullying tactics when it comes to Taiwan. Taiwan's responded very strongly to Chinese bullying tactics. India has responded in kind as far as the situation along the line of actual control is concerned, forcing China to disengage from PP-15, even though that may be a tactical pullback as far as China is concerned. But the fact remains, if China has about 50,000 troops deployed, India has an equally large number of troops deployed in that area, and China did not either initially think that India will be able to withstand Chinese pressure tactics or score one on China by doing a QPQ operation, forcing China to pull back from either bank of Pangong. So initially, then one more round of negotiation and disengagement, and after 16 rounds of negotiations, finally relenting and disengaging from Petrol Point 15, though Demchok and Depsang remain an issue of grave concern.